Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
Worried about what ingredients are hiding in your groceries? Let us take the guesswork out. We're Thrive Market, the online grocery store with the highest quality standards in the industry. We restrict 1,000 plus ingredients, so you can trust that you'll only find the best high-quality, organic, and sustainable brands, all free of the junk. With savings up to 30% off and fast carbon-neutral shipping, you get top trusted groceries at your door, and you can stop worrying about what your kids get their hands on. Start shopping at thrivemarket.com/podcast for 30% off your first order and a free gift.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states. Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Today, Duolingo adds chess. Google divulges its exclusive deals aren't exclusive anymore. And Bodie Grimm on some fun EVs coming soon.
I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Tom Merritt.
Let's start with what you need to know with a big story. Yes, Duolingo is launching a new chess course that's designed to make learning the game accessible for everyone. Yes, beginners included. The course uses Duolingo's signature gamified, bite-sized lesson approach and includes interactive chess puzzles to teach the basics and strategies of chess. Now, users can also play short mini matches or full games against the virtual coach, which is a character named Oscar inside the app. Duolingo is aiming to fill a gap in the market by catering to new and intermediate players. Many of the existing tools that are around chess, getting better at chess, really target more advanced users. So this is really meant to isolate the people who really just want to learn how to play and how to become a little bit better than maybe they are right now. The course will launch in beta on iOS in English. Plans to expand to more users in around 4 to 6 weeks. So that'll open up. And then the feature will expand to Android devices. I'm sad a little bit. And additional languages in the coming months. So
were you going to jump right on this if it was available for Android?
I mean, I jump on it to test it out. Chess isn't a game that I play all the time, but it's certainly a game that every once in a while, I want to learn how to be a better chess player because it does come up from time to time. I haven't thought of Duolingo as anything beyond language learning, but apparently this is not new that they're kind of branching out to other avenues.
It's an interesting strategy. If people don't realize, they also have a math course and a music course. And so chess is the third in the non-linguistic courses that Duolingo has been expanding into. Also, after years of I wouldn't say that they didn't expand at all, but after years of sort of cautious improvement of their language courses, the language courses have been getting a lot of improvements. I use Duolingo to kind of keep sharp on Korean as I'm learning it. And they keep adding things to it to make it better and better, things that I wish that had been there when I had started at the beginning. So it's interesting to see them also not pivot, but expand to say, well, we're not just a language learning app, we're a learning app. All the things that they said in the interviews about this were like, no, don't expect a bunch from us. We have nothing else to announce. We're not, going to throw a bunch of other courses here, but we are going to see how this goes. And I think that's probably on face value, them looking at music and math and saying, okay, that seemed to work. What if we try chess? Let's learn from what people use it for and then decide what other topics they might want to add. So I'm curious what they learned from this.
Yeah, well, so I haven't had a lot of interaction with Duolingo over the years. Like I've tested it here and there, and I've had, those moments where I'm like, oh, I'm going to Italy or whatever.
Yeah,
so I might
right.
install it on my phone and use it for like 2 weeks, and then I forget about it, and then it fades away. So I'm not a regular user of Duolingo, but I do wonder, and maybe you are more exposed to this because you have used it more on these courses that have nothing to do with language. Is there the potential to where Duolingo kind of sprinkles its language learning magic into that as well, kind of like a combined thing? And I don't know how you do that creatively and effectively, but it might be interesting to be like, yeah, I'm learning I'm learning how to play chess, but I'm also kind of learning how to play chess, through a tutorial that's in this language that I'm learning. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Like you're learning Russian and then you learn chess and Russian combined. That's really,
see, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've thought of that already, but that's a really good idea that they should.
I mean, it certainly complicates things a little bit further to be like, well, now you're not just learning the rules of the game, but you might have more to, invested in learning that chess game if you're also kind of learning, the basics of the Russian language as far as that's concerned.
Well,
but,
certainly they're launching this in English now, but they plan to expand it to other languages, which they have the database for languages.
For sure,
so they should be able to do that. And I guess you could just DIY it and say like, okay, I would like to learn chess in Russian. And then push yourself. But if they did it on purpose, then they could sort of guide you along. One thing I liked in this announcement was that they said that they will allow you to kind of enter in at your level. So like you said, it's new and intermediate players, but if you're intermediate, you don't have to just grind through the new levels. They can place you, so to speak. Although I'm curious how that placement works. If it's self-reported, that's fine. But what I would like these tools to do, and with generative models out there, I feel like they can do it, is to kind of test you and ask you questions and then kind of proceed at the pace that you learn. That is one thing that Duolingo does not do yet in its languages very well. They have some kind of ways of doing it, but to say like, hey, let's adapt the lessons you're getting to how you're learning, give you more of the things you're having a trouble with, give you less of the things that you're mastering right away. They have added some things where they will kind of try to strengthen your vocabulary with lessons, which I find extremely helpful. And every once in a while it'll go like, hey, you're doing really well. You want to skip this lesson and just go on to the next one? But those are very basic. I'm imagining something a lot more tailored in the future. And so anyway, having the chess app kind of bring you in at your level made me think, oh, that'd be nice if they did that across the board too.
And embedded inside of the app that already exists, or is this an entirely separate thing? I imagine it would just be offered through Duolingo, and then that has the added benefit of like someone who wasn't thinking about, starting to learn a foreign language of some sort. Now they're through the door for something completely different.
Right, they came in for chess, and they're like, ooh, maybe I should learn this language too.
Maybe I should learn math.
Yeah. Well, let us know if you try this out, how it works for you, especially if you're a non-Duolingo user. I'm very curious about that. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. DTNS is made possible by you listening to me right now, listening to Jason right now. You did it. You're responsible. It made it sound like it was a bad thing with the way the tone I used
we're
there.
pointing all of our fingers at you right now.
No, we're incredibly thankful that you are responsible for making this happen. So big thanks to Johnny Hernandez, High Tech Okie, Chris Zaragoza, and 2 brand new patrons. Welcome into the club, Mikey and Doug.
Yeah, welcome. It's a party.
Trust isn't just earned, it's demanded. Whether you're a startup founder navigating your first audit or a seasoned security professional scaling your GRC program, proving your commitment to security has never been more critical or more complex. That's where Vanta comes in. Businesses use Vanta to establish trust by automating compliance needs across over 35 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001, centralize security workflows, complete questionnaires up to 5 times faster, and proactively manage vendor risk. Vanta not only saves you time, it can also save you money. A new IDC white paper found that Vanta customers achieve $535,000 per year in benefits, and the platform pays for itself in just 3 months. Join over 9,000 global companies like Atlassian, Quora, and Factory who use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. For a limited time, our audience gets $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/DTNS. That's VANTA.com/DTNS for $1,000 off. This podcast is brought to you by Ecovacs, the global leader in robotic vacuum and mop innovation. Say goodbye to dirty mop water and grimy floors. The all-new Osmo Roller Mop in the Dbot X8 Pro Omni features breakthrough technology that continuously washes itself as it mops. That means no cross-contamination of filth and bacteria, just impeccably clean floors on a roll. Why settle for spreading dirt around when you can have a mop that truly cleans? Ready to experience the future of floor cleaning? Learn more at ecovacsx8.com/roller. That's ecovacsx8.com/roller.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
All right, there's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
The remedy phase of the Google antitrust case over search advertising is underway, and some new tidbits are coming out in the testimony. I'll get to those in a second, but just to remind those who haven't been following this super closely, the remedy phase is where the U.S. and Google each try to persuade Judge Mehta, also just side note, the guy overseeing it is named Mehta. It's M-E-H-T-A, but I just find that constantly amusing. Anyway, they're each going to try to persuade Judge Mehta what should be done in response to Google's abuse of its dominant position in search text advertising. And keep in mind that whatever the judge decides, Google's going to appeal it. So nothing's going to happen right away, and even what the judge decides might not ever happen. Anyway, during the testimony, Google's VP of Platforms and Device Partnerships, Peter Fitzgerald, said that Google has a 2-year contract to pay Samsung to pre-install Gemini on its devices. The payments include a fee plus a share of revenue. The amount of the payments was not disclosed. Fitzgerald also said Samsung received competitive offers from other companies, including OpenAI, Meta, and Microsoft. Fitzgerald said the Gemini contract is non-exclusive, and the search and assistant contracts for Samsung have been amended to be non-exclusive as well. Gemini placement is not part of this case, but the Department of Justice wants to show that this case is already having an effect and that the judge should make that effect permanent. You might think like this would work in Google's favor. Like, see, we don't even need the decision. But the DOJ is like, see, once they started feeling the pressure, they started acting better. Let's force them to do that. At issue in this case is Google paying for exclusive search, among many other things. Generally, you hear people talk about the contract Google has with Apple and how much they pay Apple. But Google also has one with Mozilla. And in the Epic versus Google case, it came out that Google paid $8 billion over 3 years to Samsung for search, Play Store, and Google Assistant placement. So one imagines they're paying quite a bit of money for Gemini placement as well. Anyway, the judge will decide the remedy. The judge doesn't have to take anybody's suggestions if he doesn't want to, but he's going to listen to everybody's suggestions over the next couple of weeks. And like I said, Google's going to appeal whatever he decides.
Yeah. And sort of related, I saw this right before coming to record this. Samsung reportedly in talks with Perplexity about making it the default AI assistant on its devices. Motorola potentially has an announcement later this week announcing Perplexity as a partner. So there is change in the air. There is a challenge a brewing when it comes to these AI smart agents and assistants on these devices.
I feel like it still benefits Google more for people to hear like, hey, Samsung's got to deal with Perplexity coming. So I wouldn't be shocked if Google wanted that to leak out ahead of time.
Yeah. Totally. That makes a lot of sense, actually. The U.S. FTC has sued Uber, alleging that the company enrolled customers in its Uber One subscription service and charged them without consent. There's a whole bunch of charges from the FTC here. The FTC says that Uber made it very difficult for users to cancel memberships, sometimes requiring navigation through at least 7 screens and 12 actions. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a nightmare. Customers within 48 hours of their billing date faced at least 23 screens, as well as a customer service call. Just shoot me now. The complaint also claims that Uber misled customers by promising $25 a monthly savings without factoring in the $9.99 subscription fee. Now, Uber denies the allegations. And I think there's even more that I didn't touch on here, but Uber denies these allegations, says cancellations can now be completed in-app within 20 seconds.
Yeah. I have canceled Uber One before, and I don't remember it being painful. Maybe I blocked it from my memory, but I remember it, being something that I could just do with a few taps in the app.
That's particularly painful. Like, I don't know that I've ever gone through 23 screens along with a customer service call to cancel anything. So
I've definitely gone through the customer service call alone. There's just no other option, right? Sarah Lane talked about this on DTNS Live yesterday, and she has been a victim of being charged for Uber One when she did not remember signing up for it. Now, she's willing to say, like, maybe I tapped something without realizing it. But so there's that side of this, too, of like using some dark patterns to get people to sign up when they're like, wait, when did I do that? So that's part of this as well. Google Messages beta is rolling out a sensitive content warnings feature that uses on-device algorithms to automatically blur images that have nudity. They do this in search results sometimes, but this would be on your device. The feature is opt-in for adults, while supervised users under 18 will have it enabled automatically with parental control in Google's Family Link app. If you're unsupervised, no parental control, and you're between 13 and 17, you'll be able to disable it in your account settings. Nude images will appear blurred with controls to unblur for adults and unsupervised teens. The app will also warn users when sending nude images to prevent accidental shares. Are you sure you want to send that topless image to Jason Tom? And I will go, oh my gosh, no, I do not.
Oh, yeah. No, that was obviously an accident. Clearly don't do that ever. I think settings like this, I applaud settings like this. I'd love, as a parent, I love to know that I have control and have the ability for the system to recognize certain things and make it an educational moment for my child, at least. So, yeah. Instagram released right before showtime, actually, Edits, a standalone video editing app that competes with ByteDance's hugely popular CapCut. The free app is now available on Android and iOS. It provides tools not found in the Instagram app. So you get things like green screen background replacement. You can do subject cutouts, the ability to animate a still image. And then upcoming features include more AI edit capabilities, keyframes, and collaboration tools. So something collaborative with other users. Instagram head Adam Mosseri has shared in the past that Edits is intended, quote, more for creators than casual video makers. That's That's what he said, and admits that as a result, it's going to appeal to a smaller audience than CapCut does. CapCut is really, reigns supreme largely on mobile when it comes to this sort of thing. But sounds like you already put it to the test, even though it was right before showtime, Tom.
Yeah. I downloaded it, slapped together a bunch of videos of Seven the dog and myself just to see what it would do. I tried out the green screen thing, which was a little confusing at first how it was supposed to work, but it works per clip. So I did a little green screen. The green screen is fine. Yeah. It's as good as like Zoom circa 2020 at blocking out your background. You're going to have part of your head fade into the background sometimes. But yeah, it seems fine. And what I mostly was interested in was how is the exporting work. So when you get to the export, it will give you the option to go straight into Instagram or Facebook, as you might expect, but then it will also save it to the camera roll first. So it'll save it to the camera roll and then share it to Instagram or Facebook. And then I was able to go into my camera roll and share it to TikTok. No watermark, nothing like that. So you can use it for other platforms. It just won't be the built-in sharing within the app. And it seems, pretty run-of-the-mill as far as editing goes. I imagine Masseri's making all those claims about this being more for creators than casual video makers to explain that it has more features. And so if those features are confusing to some people who pick it up, that's why. Also sounds like it was an argument in the project management meeting about whether they should lean more simple or more complex.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. Definitely, I don't do a huge amount of like hardcore video editing on my smartphone, and I know in certain groups that makes me an outlier because I think a lot of people actually do these days, which is kind of interesting to me. But I am always looking for the solution on a smartphone that isn't painful, because I find them all sort of painful, and so I'm curious to play with this one. Yeah,
my wife Eileen does a lot of editing on her phone and her tablet using CapCut, so I'm going to be curious what she thinks of edits. And I have used various like Splice I used to use because sometimes I'm like, I've got all the video here, I just want to do something simple. So edits might be a good option for me now. Mm-hmm. Apple has removed the Available Now label from its Apple Intelligence webpage. This is after the National Advertising Division, which is part of the Better Business Bureau national program, recommended the company discontinue or modify the claim. The NAD found that Apple's advertising implied that all of its AI-powered features were available with the launch of the iPhone 16, when that was not really the case. Also, the NAD pointed out that the inclusion of Apple's upgraded Siri below that Available Now label implied that feature was there, even though it's still missing from its consumer products. Apple also removed its More Personal Siri video from that page as well.
Man, Fallout continues, I swear. Interesting. Blue Sky is adding new ways to verify users. Blue Sky itself can verify select users with a round blue check mark, and organizations like the New York Times can be given the ability to verify users, like its own journalists, with a scalloped edge blue check mark. This comes in addition to Blue Sky's more complex domain-based self-verification approach, and for now, only select notable accounts and organizations can be verified. Plans are there to open a public request form for verification as the system kind of grows and matures. So soon, maybe I'll get verified on a single platform. It'll be great, and I won't have to pay for it.
Just verify yourself. It's actually not that hard.
Yeah, that's true. I'm verified on Mastodon. I've verified myself there.
Yeah, I've verified on Mastodon. I'm verified on Blue Sky. I'm actually sort of sad that they're going this route of like, we'll pick who's important, because I feel like that was one of the mistakes that Twitter made in the early days. But here we go. Yeah. Insta360's new X5 360-degree action camera is making the rounds with replaceable lenses that allow users to swap out damaged lenses for $30. The X5 features large 1.28 sensors, 144% bigger than the X4, and AI enhancements, including pure video mode that applies advanced noise reduction and dynamic range optimizations for indoor and low-light environments. Standard version starts at $549.99 with an Essentials bundle that includes extra accessories and an additional battery for $659.99.
Yeah, the embargo definitely lifted this morning, because holy cow, this thing was everywhere. I was like, well, I think I need to put this in there, at least in one place. It was effective. It does look like a nice camera, though. It's been 1 week since the notorious anonymous forum site 4chan was taken down by attackers who had reportedly had access to the system for more than 1 year before the attack happened. The site remains inaccessible, and that's fueling a lot of speculation by many people, including some of the admins there and everything, that it may be gone for good. 4chan administrators have acknowledged the breach and shared that they are working to secure the platform, but the scale of that damage to the architecture, and not to mention the scale of the damage to the kind of reputation of being an anonymous platform, might actually be too great to overcome. Can you even imagine a modern internet that doesn't have 4chan existing somewhere
lurking in the corner?
Corners?
Yeah. No, it would definitely be the end of an era.
For sure.
Rumors of its death may be greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
But as Wired points out, people who like to do the kinds of things that they do on 4chan have a lot of other options these days. So, they may not come back.
Yep.
Those are the essentials for today. Let's dive a little deeper into an ongoing story and follow up.
The choices among electric vehicles, they keep expanding. God, I was, just for my wife's birthday party, it was a big discussion around EV, and, it wasn't just about Tesla. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Tom caught up with Bodie Grimm from the Kilowatt Podcast to talk about some cool EVs coming soon, including the return of an old favorite.
Bodie, you're an old favorite of ours. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
It's always fun to talk about what's out there, and I think that's real useful, but it's also even more fun sometimes to talk about what's coming. Let's start with NIO. NIO is a company that I have followed for quite a long time. What have they got in the pipeline for us?
So they have a new sub-brand called Firefly. And depending on the time this is released, this may not be a EV coming soon. Might be an EV recently released kind of a situation. But the Firefly brand was announced late in 2024. In terms of size, it competes with the Mini or the Smart Car. It has a 42 kilowatt hour battery with a range of 420 kilometers or 260 miles.
Nice.
Again, let's all assume that when this goes to a different market, those numbers might change.
Okay, gotcha.
But NIO is saying this is a premium car, and I'll tell you why. Because this car is only going to be released in China, but it's kind of expensive for China. So this vehicle has a frunk. It's a 5-seater. It's rear-wheel drive. It's compatible with NIO's battery swap stations, which I think that
really
is
cool.
my favorite. That's my favorite part of the car. It's not expected to come to the US, but it will be available in markets outside of China, like Europe. As a matter of fact, it's kind of seems like this was built specifically for the European market. Like I said, April 19th is when it's going to come out in China, but we're looking at $21,000, which is very expensive in China.
Yeah. And then it would likely sell for more outside of China. That's usually the way this goes, but probably not a lot more, right?
Yeah, because there's a cost to shipping it, but also there's tariffs or duties in Europe. So I don't know exactly how much that would actually end up being, but it's definitely going to be more.
Well, the next one is good news for a lot of diehard fans of Chevy.
Yeah, this is another brand and vehicle that people just love, and that is the Chevy Bolt. So Chevy had a huge hit with the Chevy Bolt. When the Bolt was actually being sold, it just dwarfed any other EV that GM sold. They sold 70, 80,000 of these, whereas they were selling in the tens of thousands of the, low tens of thousands of the other vehicles combined, So the Chevy Bolt really kind of bolstered GM's EV proposition. Problem was a lot of it was built on LG technology with some Chevy stuff bolted on. I didn't even mean to do that. But the new Chevy Bolt will be based on GM's Ultium platform, which, by the way, GM dropped the Ultium name and didn't give it a new one.
Okay.
No, they didn't call it.
But it's the same stuff.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
But anyway, they didn't give us we don't have specs at this time, but it's supposed to be coming out soon. So I would imagine we would see the announcement here in the next couple of months. But based on what they did with the Equinox EV, I think this is going to be well equipped. As far as price goes, I have to guess that it's going to be south of $30,000 just because the Bolt or the Equinox is at $35,000. but it's a car I'm excited about.
All right. These first two are cars, as you might normally imagine cars. Let's turn to something that's got a different form factor on the car.
So, Tom, I know I've brought up Aptera to you in the past. Do you have a picture in your mind?
Yeah.
Could you describe what you think that looks like, or what it looks like in your mind?
Like kind of a really big Cushman with wings.
What is a Cushman?
It's the little carts that people drive around.
Okay. Yeah, this is the Aptera, to me, looks like a fuselage for an airplane.
Okay, yeah, that's probably closer to the truth.
And Aptera, it's a 3-wheeled vehicle, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, 2-seater. It, like I said, looks like an airplane without wings, but Aptera in Greek actually means wingless flight. Okay. So, yeah. This car, at the top of the car, you'll find 700 watts of integrated solar panels that will generate around 40 miles of range per day, depending on, you got to have optimal conditions to get that. Aptera claims on a full charge, the vehicle has a range of 400 miles. Again, this is a pre-released vehicle, so let's be hopeful of those numbers.
Yeah. It won't go over 400 miles in range. We could say for sure.
For sure. And I found this to be very funny when I was writing this up this morning. But recently, Aptera, like back in March, took one of their test vehicles to Flagstaff, Arizona, and they drove to the Imperial Valley of California on a single charge, which is great. That's about 343 miles, 5-hour trip.
Yeah, it's not a short drive. I've made that drive.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The thing is I was like, Flagstaff has a really high elevation. Mm-hmm. What is the elevation of Imperial Valley? So Flagstaff is 7,000 feet. Imperial Valley, I didn't even know this, is 230 feet below sea level. So there's a thing in EVs where you're going downhill and you take your foot off the accelerator, where you're regenerating and you're putting power back into the battery.
You still have to go back up sometimes on that drive, but net overall, you're going downhill. That's a really good point.
Yeah, like 7,230 feet, you're going downhill. So I think it's a bit of a cheat, but it's a cool car in any case. I really like Aptera. They started as a company in 2006. They folded in 2011. Both founders went out and did other things, found a little bit of success, came back in 2019, refounded the company. And they're supposed to, and I talked to their CEO at CES, they're supposed to start production, low volume production, which I will say that's probably one car in 2025. But in 2026, they're supposed to start, in earnest.
All right, let's finish up with one last one. I've talked in other places about people importing these tiny trucks because they're so efficient and affordable and durable and all of that. And it sounds like we have a similar style thing for an EV here. Yeah.
So Tello trucks, they modeled their MT1 pickup truck off of the Japanese K trucks, which are small and efficient, like you said. And the cool thing about this truck, Tom, there's lots of cool things. The coolest thing is it's about as long as a Mini Cooper.
Okay.
But it has the interior space of a Toyota Tacoma.
That's like a TARDIS. How do they do that?
Well, it's a really good question. The bed of the truck is 5 feet long. But if you need to put in like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, for instance, there's a mid-gate and the back seat folds down and that expands it out. So you lose 2 seats when you do that, but you gain plywood. It also has a pass-through cargo space in the bed of the truck, which is similar to what Rivian, the R1T does. And Tello says this truck is going to start at around $41,000 for the single motor version, and that'll get you 260 miles of range. But if you're looking at maxing it out without the accessories, because you can go wild on the accessories, but if you're looking at maxing it out, you're looking at about $50,000 for dual motor, bigger battery. Tello says 350 miles of range, again, an estimate, and that's expected out early 2026.
All right. These are great things to keep an eye out for and see if they come to your market. Appreciate you keeping us updated on the future of electric vehicles, man. If folks want to find more of what you do, where should they go?
They should head over to 918digital.com and got podcasts on music, got podcasts on content creation, and of course, we've got the Kilowatt podcast where talk about electric vehicles.
Bodie, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, Tom.
What do you want to hear us talk about on the show? One way to let us know is our subreddit. You could submit stories and vote on them. Go do it. Reddit.com/r/Daily Tech News Show.
Ever wonder what your lashes are destined for? The cards have spoken. Maybelline New York Mascara does it all. Whether you crave fully fan lashes with Lash Sensational, big, bold volume from the Colossal, a dramatic lift with Falsies Lash Lift, or natural-looking volume from Great Lash, your perfect lash future awaits. Manifest your best mascara today. Shop Maybelline New York and discover your lash destiny. Shop now at Walmart.
What makes a great pair of glasses? At Warby Parker, it's all the invisible extras without the extra cost. Their designer quality frames start at $95, including prescription lenses, plus scratch-resistant, smudge-resistant, and anti-reflective coatings, and UV protection, and free adjustments for life. To find your next pair of glasses, sunglasses, or contact lenses, or to find the Warby Parker store nearest you, head over to warbyparker.com. That's warbyparker.com.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom, and today, Acer and Matt. So 2 different emails helping us understand.
Yeah, so Acer writes, I found the Adobe segment and AI agents to be really helpful. That was our conversation with Andy Beach. If you have more on such topics, agentic AI, MCP, etc., that would be great if you can include it in future episodes. We'll keep an eye out. Thanks, Acer.
Thank you, Acer. And then Matt Schultz wrote in to say, I never thought about how translating dolphins doesn't mean that we will be able to communicate with them. Thought-provoking interview. Yeah, it's easy to kind of go to that place and be like, oh, soon we'll be talking with dolphins. Like, you know what? Maybe somewhere down the line, but wouldn't it be interesting if we could at least just understand those noises that they happen to put out into the world? I couldn't tell you what they sound like because I don't have a dolphin sitting next to me right here, but... Okay, yeah, that's what it sounds like.
What did he say?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I need this AI to understand.
We need the algorithm. Folks, what are you thinking about? You got some insight into a story? Share it with us. Feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Thanks to Bodie, Acer, and Matt for contributing to today's show, and thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. This show is made possible by our amazing patrons at patreon.com/DTNS. If you want music news and you got less than 5 minutes, well, we got a show for you. Check out dailymusicheadlines.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Weight loss. It needs to be fast and sustainable. Noom GLP-1 starts at just $149 and ships to your door in 7 days. Take it from Lauren, who lost 22 pounds on Noom.
If I come off of the GLP-1, it's not going to automatically make my weight yo-yo back.
$149 GLP-1s? Now that's Noom smart. Get started at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. Individual results may vary. Not all customers will medically qualify for prescription medications. Compounded medications are not reviewed by the FDA for safety, efficacy, or quality.